I'm just honored and privileged to be with you as part of this interactive session on anti-money laundering and combating financing of terrorism. But the most important thing is also to create awareness in terms of AML issues. My humble task today is only to introduce the chief guest, my friend and mentor, Dr. Oburu Odinga, who is also the Assistant Minister for Finance. But because we have worked on this area together, he has provided us support at every level. Let me make a few remarks that may complement what he is going to say. We at the Central Bank, we have dealt with several issues. Sorry, I may be giving another presentation, which I don't want to. That is not mine. It will be for the other people who come in. Perhaps I'll close this for the time being. We at the Central Bank, we have been at the forefront of trying to introduce guidelines in terms of fighting money laundering and even combating terrorist financing. But let me begin by actually acknowledging that we have done so many things across the board, but perhaps we failed to parade them internationally and also within our financial system. In fact, when I was looking through the audience, I was looking at the initiative that was started this year, the beginning of this year, and we had a big conference on financial inclusion for financial integrity, and that's why I can see Andy there, who started the Financial Services Frontier Corps office here in Nairobi with the support of the US government and even Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So we have tried to build capacity. We have tried to do this to try and correct any form of deficiencies that may be prevalent within our system. Let me begin by extending a very warm welcome to all the participants to the Kenya School of Monetary Studies, our capacity building unit for the Central Bank and the financial system in the region, in Kenya and the region. And the school is working together with the Financial Reporting Center with the support of the Danish government to create an extensive AML CFT program, that is anti-money laundering, combating financing terrorism program for the next 2 years. And this is going to be helpful for us to raise not only the awareness, but also to build the requisite capacity for the Financial Reporting Center and even all the entities in terms of what is required in this, law enforcement authorities, the personnel for Financial Reporting Center, as well as any other initiatives that we may want to build in terms of creating awareness and strength in terms of our institutions fighting anti-money laundering. As such, today's forum marks the start of the Danish-funded project, which will run for the next 24 months. And I'm sure that appreciation is very, very important. We will listen to the technical matters later, but at least that commitment is very, very important, and for us it's very important to appreciate that. The project includes activities whose objectives are to raise awareness amongst key stakeholders engaged in the fight against money laundering and terrorist financing. As you are all aware, Kenya has made significant strides in protecting its financial integrity of the financial system and illicit financing crimes. The government has not only shown high level of political commitment in overseeing the stability of the country's financial sector, but also has been actively engaged in overseeing the implementation of the requisite laws and even legislation. It has been slow, but it has been painful, but it has also been comprehensive. We are so happy about that. We know that we are not alone in this. There are so many other countries that have suffered similar fates just because of the complexity of the issues. But one of the most important things is, first of all, is to come up with the requisite legislation. The next thing is actually to implement. And the third thing is actually to share with the market that are supposed to help us in terms of that implementation. We are happy about that. We have come up with guidelines ourselves as Central Bank and other financial regulators. And we are happy that the reception by the financial sector has been quite important. I was at the review meeting for Africa and the Middle East in Beirut last month, and the purpose was to try and explain our position and our developments and our experiences, and also to try and explain that what we are accused of deficiencies are actually not deficiencies, it's actually the information flow which is incomplete. But the most important thing I emphasize is that Kenya's financial sector is actually bank dominated. So if you have taken control of the banks in terms of what should be done, then the registration will come to give up some backup. At the Beirut meeting review last month, what I did was to argue that Kenya is caught up in what I called a triple problem, a trilemma. The first one is trying to implement a new constitution. Second is actually to come up with the bills supporting the new constitution. And then third one is actually building and safeguarding strong institutions and making sure that we move very fast on FATF guidelines and what are seen as deficiencies. But even in the midst of that, Kenya also had to go to war. That's a fourth dimension problem, to fight terrorism. And this is beyond financial risks that we see. This is a matter of national sovereignty. So you can see the rank at which the Kenyan government had to go. So what they are seen as deficiencies is actually a capacity constraint and a process that has been going for a long time. So I argued with the review group that what we need is actually time to finalize all these interlinked issues. We need strong capacity building efforts, and I'm very happy about this program that we are starting today with the Danish government, and I'm very happy also with those we have started similar initiatives for capacity building. Third, we need to adopt and replicate and build a very strong FRC, that is Financial Reporting Center, and we need to adopt the best model in the world. We started the FRC in April this year, and since then we have taken quite drastic steps in terms of where we're going and what we really need to see. So we are very happy that this program is starting with a capacity building to raise awareness, but also to create the requisite capacity that is necessary for us to move forward. So we do believe we'll get there. But the beauty about the new constitution is that it allows us to build strong institutions. Most of the time, we find failures or deficiencies. It has nothing to do with whether there is the required registration or legal backing. It has everything to do with lack of strong institutions. I'm a strong believer of strong institutions because they define the appropriate incentives. And for us, of course, my colleagues in the banking sector, they know also the opposite of incentives is penalties, which make sure that they encourage prudent behavior in the marketplace. And that's what we want. But we also want strong institutions, not only for the regulator, but also for the regulator. And that will make sure that we achieve the goals that we really want. So all these issues I paraded, and at the end of the day, we were told, yes, we understand better. But the most important thing is also make sure that you have the financing terrorism bill in place before we meet in Paris. The biggest problem that I have, my brother here, is how do I control the timetable for the parliament? Even if I was with the minister there, because I was representing the minister, he would still have said the same. But we have shown where we are, and that bill has been passed. But for us, we didn't sit back. Working together with the FRC, and I'm sure my colleagues will raise these issues from the banking sector, we raised the guidelines. We put up guidelines, proposed guidelines, and we are waiting for the sector. We can sit together and go through a consultative forum to see what we adopt, the timeline and all that. That's what we do at the central bank with the market that we regulate. So we have made very significant steps. It's not only the law, but also we have taken from the law what kind of guidelines should we issue as FRC. And then we have tossed it to the market. Study them, let's have comments, then we have a forum, we sit together, we believe in consultative process. Then we adopt those that we can adopt, and those that require further institutional build-up, we give ourselves timeline, but very clear timelines. So I'm very happy about that progress. I just wanted to report that because I will make those points as well wherever I go internationally. But the focus here today will be to raise awareness on the sensitive issues that you already are familiar with, AML and CFT. But of course, it's also important while we are doing that to touch on the successes that we have had. For example, at the central bank, we want to foster financial integrity. We want to build strong institutions. So we also have to make sure, and I argued this point last week again, we had G20, Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion. And there is always a misunderstanding. In fact, I found someone from Namibia saying that in a group I was in, that Kenya has had problems with FATF because of M-Pesa. I said, what? All our lives, and these people who are here will tell you, is we have been trying to move the informal sector to the formality, isn't it? And what M-Pesa did was just that. The problem is that they still believe that it is telecom, and that is the telecom leading the way. They don't seem to understand how it works. Of course, when something is so easy, you start scratching your head, there must be something I don't understand here. Perhaps Isaac, I want to bring the story because he's the originator in terms of this, to see that it's a simple idea made easy, but it's a complicated idea which allows financial integrity as well as financial inclusion. So we are very happy, but the most important thing, once we raise awareness, we can parade the issues that we have managed. We have safeguarded the system very well. So for me, I know that we have done so well, but we have not talked about what we do so well. This forum starts that. And as we build capacity towards that end, I'm very happy that some of the issues that are going to be very, very important in this and capacity building are going to be pinpointed so that we build strong institutions. I'm very happy with the current law that we use. It has a big acronym, POCAMRA, that is the proceeds of, why do we have such a big acronym? Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2009. What we have done in that is that we issued guidelines in 2000, and we revised those guidelines again in 2006 and 2009. So central bank has been covering that. I argued in an international forum that central bank has a space to issue guidelines to protect the market because the dynamics in the market are very, very important. In the current law, we also have space to issue guidelines. We are also developing guidelines in all other areas, including even Hawara guidelines. I have been talking to the people in the Forex bureaus. We have issued new guidelines for Forex bureaus. So we are safeguarding the market in a big way. So essentially, this forum is very, very important to parade what we have done, to show that we have been concerned with the issues, to show that the government has gone out of its way to build those institutions that are necessary, create legislative capability for those areas that we feel we are deficient and we can protect ourselves just in case there are legal battles, and also to make sure that the regulator provides the guide. The regulated also consultatively provides the platform through which we can understand how the market works. So those are the issues that will be provided, and I don't want to, of course, take all the time, and our chief guest has all these things to say, but the most important thing I wanted to set the stage, because I have my colleagues here from the banking sector, to show that we have not been sitting idle. We have been working very hard to safeguard the market. So for me and the central bank, we'll be committed towards financial inclusion for financial development, but also for financial integrity, working with so many networks across the world, and so many others that are coming up, that just like I talked about, Financial Services Frontier Corps and the capacity they are raising for us. So for us, we will be coming up with new ideas. So for me, I will stop there. Just wanted to give you that highlight.